Have you ever noticed that some people seem completely unbothered by the fact that they're not rich yet? They're not chasing the next crypto coin, not flipping houses on TikTok, not trying to turn their hobby into a side hustle empire. They just quietly keep doing their thing, saving, investing, working regular jobs, and somehow, 10 or 15 years later, they're sitting on real wealth. Not flashy cars or rented Lamborghinis, but actual money, assets, freedom. Meanwhile, everyone else spent that same decade sprinting toward quick money and ended up exhausted, broke, and confused. It almost feels unfair. But here's the twist. It's not luck, and it's definitely not because they found some secret get-rich scheme. It's because they chose the slow path on purpose. My name is Michael, and I help people understand money the way school never did. If you're tired of chasing financial shortcuts that somehow keep setting you back, stay with me. Because once you understand why some people intentionally choose to get rich slowly, you'll realize it's actually the fastest way there. Let's start with the first truth that no one wants to hear. Getting rich quickly usually costs you more than it makes you. Every shortcut looks great in the moment. Day trading, flipping NFTs, crypto projects, passive income courses, it all sounds smart until you do the math. Let's take trading as an example. You see influencers showing huge gains, so you think, if I can make 10% a week, I'll be rich in no time. But here's the thing, 10% gains come with the possibility of 30% losses. And most people don't have the emotional or financial stability to handle that. So what happens? They win a little, lose a lot, and burn out. Meanwhile, the slow and steady investor is over there buying index funds every month, ignoring the noise and actually compounding. Here's where it gets interesting. The people who choose the slow route aren't lazy. They're strategic. They know something most people don't. Consistency beats intensity every time. The same way you don't get in shape from one brutal workout, you don't build wealth from one lucky trade. Real wealth comes from boring, repeated actions that look insignificant in the short term and miraculous in the long term. Think about it. You save $500 a month and invest it. That's not impressive. It feels like nothing. But give it 15 years at a reasonable 8% return and you're looking at almost $200,000. Not because you did anything extraordinary, but because you didn't quit. Everyone else gets distracted after 6 months. Point 2. Patience is a financial superpower because most people don't have it. The world is built to destroy your patience. Everything is designed for instant gratification, same-day shipping, one-click buying, 15-second videos. The idea of waiting even 5 years for a result feels ancient. That's why Get Rich Quick sells so well. It's not just greed, it's impatience disguised as ambition. But the people who get rich slowly, they've trained their patience like a muscle. They see time as leverage. When everyone else sees time as the enemy, the patient person sees time as the engine that multiplies their efforts. Compound interest, skill development, business growth, they all reward patience. I once met a guy who started investing in his 20s. He never earned more than a modest salary. No inheritance, no side hustles. But he maxed out his retirement accounts every year. By the time he hit 50, he was a millionaire. No drama, no secrets, just quiet patience. Meanwhile, his friends who were chasing the next big thing are still chasing. The irony is painful. Point 3. Slow wealth builders focus on control, not excitement. Most people don't actually want money. They want the feeling that money gives them. Control, freedom, security. But instead of building real control, they chase excitement. They want that rush of seeing a stock double overnight or flipping something for quick cash. It feels alive. It feels like progress. But slow wealth builders play a different game. They focus on what they can control, their savings rate, their spending habits, their asset allocation, their career growth. Everything else, market cycles, interest rates, headlines, they ignore. They understand that control compounds faster than excitement. Real example, 2 coworkers, same income. One invests randomly when the market looks good. The other invests automatically every month, rain or shine. After 10 years, the consistent one is far ahead. Not because of luck, but because their system never depended on excitement or motivation. The market rewards discipline, not dopamine. Point 4. They understand that freedom is better than flexing. Here's the uncomfortable truth. Most people aren't trying to get rich. They're trying to look rich. And those are 2 completely different goals. Looking rich is expensive. Freedom is cheap. When someone who gets rich slowly buys something, they're asking, does this make my life freer? When someone chasing fast money buys something, they're asking, will people think I'm successful? The difference is everything. The slow builder will drive the same car for 10 years, cook at home most nights, wear normal clothes, and quietly buy more assets. Their friends might laugh. But 10 years later, those friends are making car payments while the boring one has the option to retire early. Here's the punchline. The desire to look rich keeps people poor longer than anything else. And the decision to look boring is what actually builds wealth. Point 5. They use simplicity as their competitive advantage. Most people think complexity equals sophistication. If it's complicated, it must be smart. That's how the financial industry keeps people confused and profitable. Slow wealth builders don't fall for it. They keep everything simple on purpose. Index funds, low fees, automation, long time horizon. That's it. No fancy stock picking, no exotic trading strategies, no panic selling. Just simplicity, repeated endlessly. And it works. Because complexity adds friction, and friction kills consistency. Every time you overcomplicate your finances, you add more decisions and more chances to screw up. Simplicity keeps you in the game. This is why someone who invests in one boring S&P 500 index fund will often outperform people with sophisticated portfolios. The complicated investor is constantly adjusting, second-guessing, trying to outsmart the market. The simple investor just lets time do its thing. Guess who wins? Point 6. They build skills before they build wealth. Here's something nobody on social media talks about. If your income doesn't grow, your wealth can't either. The people who get rich slowly know that their earning power is their biggest asset early on. So instead of chasing investments they don't understand, they chase skill growth. They learn valuable things. They get better at their jobs. They become irreplaceable. Then they take the extra income those skills produce and invest it. Over time, that snowballs way faster than any side hustle fad. Real wealth is built by people who spend their 20s learning, their 30s earning, and their 40s multiplying. Most people try to skip straight to the multiplying part with no foundation underneath it. That's why it collapses. Point 7. They're allergic to lifestyle creep. This one stings a bit. Every time you get a raise, lifestyle creep is right there waiting. New car, nicer apartment, better restaurants, because I deserve it. And hey, maybe you do. But lifestyle creep is how rich, slow people stay poor forever, people. Slow wealth builders make a different move. When they get a raise, they increase their investments, not their spending. They lock in progress. They enjoy some of it, sure, but they make sure their savings rate grows with their income. It's not about deprivation, it's about priorities. The slow wealth builder's priority isn't comfort today, it's freedom tomorrow. And they know that once you inflate your lifestyle, it's almost impossible to shrink it back down. You know that saying, live below your means? Boring, right? But it's the single rule that separates financial independence from financial anxiety. Point 8. They let compounding do the heavy lifting. If there's one word that explains why getting rich slowly actually works, it's compounding. Most people intellectually know what compounding means. Few actually feel it. Because compounding doesn't make sense emotionally, it starts invisible. For years, it feels like nothing's happening. But then one day, the growth curve explodes upward, and you realize it's been working the whole time. Here's an example. Two investors start at 25. One invests $500 a month consistently until age 65. The other waits until 35 to start, but invests double $1,000 a month. Guess who ends up with more money? The one who started earlier, even though they invested less total cash. Time beats timing every single time. Slow wealth builders understand this intuitively. They protect their compounding the way most people protect their phones. They don't interrupt it. They don't withdraw for random reasons. They just keep feeding it. Point 9. They define enough. This is the part nobody likes to admit. Most people don't know what enough means for them. They think wealth has no finish line. But if you don't define enough, you'll chase forever, and you'll always feel poor compared to someone richer. The slow wealth builder decides early what they're aiming for. Maybe it's $2 million invested. Maybe it's a paid-off house and a comfortable retirement. Whatever it is, they anchor to it. And once they get there, they stop needing more for the sake of more. This mental clarity keeps them from taking dumb risks. It also lets them actually enjoy their money. Because wealth without peace isn't freedom. It's just stress with nicer furniture. Point 10. They use boredom as a filter for good decisions. Here's something counterintuitive. If it's exciting, it's probably not profitable. Slow wealth builders have learned to love boredom. They see boredom as proof that their system is working. The same paycheck deposits, the same investments, the same budget, it's dull, predictable, and perfect. Meanwhile, people chasing excitement are constantly changing direction. New business idea, new market, new opportunity. And every time they start over, they reset the compounding clock to zero. Boredom is what makes consistency possible. Consistency is what makes compounding possible. Compounding is what makes wealth inevitable. That's the chain. Break it anywhere and you start from scratch. Point 11. They play infinite games. Most people approach money like it's a short-term competition. I want to make $1 million by 30. I want to retire early. Goals are fine, but slow wealth builders focus on systems, not finish lines. They're not trying to win, they're trying to stay in the game forever. They want their wealth to outlive them. That's why they avoid unnecessary risk and keep things sustainable. They know that losing half your portfolio in a dumb bet sets you back a decade, so they protect downside first. They don't chase 10 baggers, they chase staying power. It's the same mindset elite athletes use. Winning once isn't that impressive. Winning consistently for decades, that's mastery. Point 12. They optimize for peace of mind. Money is supposed to make your life easier, not more stressful. But for most people, the more they chase it, the more anxious they become. The slow wealth builders figured this out early. Wealth is useless if you're miserable earning it. That's why they build balanced lives. They still enjoy small luxuries. They take vacations they can afford. They sleep at night knowing their investments are on autopilot. They're not checking stock prices every morning like it's a blood pressure monitor. Here's where it gets crazy. Because they're less stressed, they actually make better decisions. Calm investors outperform emotional ones. Peace of mind becomes its own kind of compound return. Point 13. They understand opportunity cost deeply. Every dollar you spend today isn't just gone. It's the future growth of that dollar that's gone. The slow wealth builder feels that every time they swipe their card. It doesn't make them cheap, it makes them conscious. When they skip a $100 dinner, they don't feel deprived. They feel like they just bought $500 of future freedom. They see trade-offs clearly, and that mental framework changes everything. Because when you start viewing money as stored time and potential, you stop wasting it trying to impress people you don't even like. Point 14. They quietly let math do its job. Getting rich slowly doesn't mean doing nothing. It means doing the right things long enough for the math to work. They invest regularly. They avoid debt traps. They live below their means. They keep learning. That's it. No secret formulas. Just the math of patience. It's the same math that turns $1,000 a month into over $1 million after 40 years. The same math that punishes debtors with compound interest and rewards investors with it. The same math that most people ignore because it doesn't feel exciting enough. But math doesn't care about excitement. It only cares about time and consistency. So why do some people get rich slowly on purpose? Because they understand that slow is only slow when you measure it day to day. Over a decade, it's shockingly fast. They don't waste time restarting every year with a new plan. They pick one path and stick with it until it works. And guess what? It always works. Because the fundamentals never stop working. They're not lazy. They're not unambitious. They're just done playing the short game. They'd rather be quietly wealthy at 50 than loudly broke at 30. They know the real flex isn't a sports car or designer clothes. It's waking up on a Monday and realizing you don't have to do anything you don't want to do. That's freedom. That's wealth. And the price of that freedom is patience. Look, I get it. The world rewards instant results. But the next time you feel like you're behind, remember this. Slow wealth isn't delayed success, it's sustained success. You don't need to sprint. You don't need to gamble. You just need to keep going. Because while everyone else is trying to get rich fast and failing over and over, you'll be the one getting rich slow and staying there. You don't need to look rich. You need to stop being stressed.